The Congressional hearing room fell dead silent as Jasmine Crockett slowly pulled out a manila folder from her briefcase. Pam Bondi, sitting at the witness table, suddenly went pale as the Texas Congresswoman held up documents that would destroy everything. What happened next sent shockwaves through Washington. Welcome to Real Life Stories. Before we dive into this explosive congressional confrontation, tell us in the comments which city you're watching from, and if you believe stories like this need to be told, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like this video. Because what you'll learn tonight reveals one of the biggest corruption scandals in American political history. The Senate Judiciary Committee hearing room was packed to capacity. Every major news network had cameras rolling. This wasn't just another routine confirmation hearing. This was about to become explosive political theater. Pam Bondi sat at the witness table with the confidence of someone who had spent decades in courtrooms. At 59, her blonde hair perfectly styled, her navy suit impeccable. She had served as Florida's Attorney General from 2011 to 2019, becoming one of Trump's most vocal supporters. Bondi expected tough questions about her conservative legal foundation nomination. She was ready for Democratic attacks about Trump connections. What she wasn't ready for was Jasmine Crockett. The first rounds of questioning proceeded normally. Republicans asked softball questions. Democrats pressed her on Trump connections and Florida cases. Bondi handled everything smoothly, never losing composure. Then it was Crockett's turn. "Miss Bondi," Crockett began, her voice calm and professional, "thank you for being here today. In your opening statement, you spoke about integrity, about the importance of truth in our legal system. You said the foundation of justice is truth, and without truth, our entire system crumbles." "Yes, Congresswoman, I believe that deeply," Bondi replied confidently. "I'm glad to hear that," Crockett said, reaching for her briefcase, "because I believe in truth too. My staff and I have spent considerable time investigating certain aspects of your record that haven't received much attention." The smile on Bondi's face flickered. Reporters perked up, sensing something was about to happen. "I want to ask you about something that happened in 2013, Crockett continued, pulling out a manila folder. "Something involving a case in Tampa, a young woman named Maria Santos, and a decision you made that changed several people's lives." Bondi's face went white. Her hands gripped the table edge. "I'm not sure what you're referring to, Congresswoman," Bondi said, but her voice had lost its earlier confidence. Crockett smiled, but it wasn't friendly. It was the smile of a prosecutor who had caught a witness in a lie. "Really, Miss Bondi? You don't remember Maria Santos? You don't remember the case that your office deliberately buried, the documents that were destroyed, the witnesses who were threatened?" The hearing room erupted. Reporters started typing furiously. Committee members leaned forward. "What I found, Miss Bondi," Crockett interrupted, holding up the folder, "is proof. Proof that you engaged in a cover-up. Proof that you obstructed justice. Proof that you violated your oath of office." Crockett stood up, commanding everyone's attention as she walked toward the witness table, manila folder in hand. "Miss Bondi, I'm going to give you one chance to tell the truth about what really happened with Maria Santos, because what I have in this folder will destroy any remaining credibility you might have." Bondi's lawyer stood up. "Mr. Chairman, this is highly irregular." "Sit down, Counselor," Chairman Durbin said firmly. "The Congresswoman has the floor." Crockett opened the folder and pulled out a document. "This is a sworn affidavit from Detective Raymond Torres of the Tampa Police Department. Would you like me to read what he says about your involvement?" Bondi's hands were shaking. She knocked over her water glass, sending water spreading across the table. Crockett began reading. Detective Torres states that on June 15, 2013, he was called into a meeting with Attorney General Pam Bondi. He was told the Santos case was being closed immediately. When he protested, pointing out they had strong evidence of human trafficking involving several prominent Florida businessmen, Ms. Bondi told him, "Some cases aren't meant to be solved. Some people are too important to prosecute." The hearing room exploded. Senator Graham was shouting about unfounded allegations. Democratic senators were calling for order. "That's a lie," Bondi shouted. "Raymond Torres was a disgruntled employee." "I thought you might say that," Crockett replied calmly, pulling out another document. "Which is why I also have this, a copy of an email you sent from your official account. The metadata has been verified by 3 independent forensic experts." Bondi's face had gone from white to red. Beads of sweat formed on her forehead. Crockett continued reading. The email, dated June 16, 2013, reads, Team, the Santos matter is closed as of today. All files are to be transferred to my office immediately. No copies are to be retained. Anyone who continues to pursue this matter will face immediate termination. I've been assured by our friends in Tampa that this is for the best. Those records were sealed by court order, Bondi said quietly, inadvertently confirming their authenticity. So you're not denying their existence? Crockett asked. I also have bank records showing that 2 weeks after you shut down the Santos investigation, your campaign received $500,000 from a PAC called Florida First. This is a witch hunt, Bondi managed. Then perhaps you can explain this, Crockett said, pulling out a photograph. This is you at a Miami fundraiser with Carlos Mendoza, one of the men Torres was investigating. The same Carlos Mendoza later convicted of money laundering, but not human trafficking, because you made sure that investigation never happened. With the chairman's permission, Crockett continued, I would like to play a video recording. A woman's face appeared on screens around the room. My name is Maria Santos, she said. In 2013, I was 19 years old. I was brought to Florida with promises of work. Instead, I was forced into terrible situations. Detective Torres believed me and promised to help, but then everything stopped. He told me the case was closed, that powerful people wanted me gone. She paused, wiping tears. I later learned that Attorney General Pam Bondi had shut down the investigation. She had taken money from the men who hurt me. She didn't just fail to get justice, she actively prevented it. The video ended. The hearing room was completely silent. So, Miss Bondi, Crockett said, I ask you again. Do you want to tell the truth or should I continue? Bondi's lawyer stood up. Miss Bondi needs a break to consult with counsel. No, Bondi said suddenly, her voice breaking. She stood up, swaying slightly. This is a hit job, a coordinated attack by the radical left to destroy anyone who supports President Trump. Then you deny it? Crockett asked simply. Because I have more, Miss Bondi, Crockett said, reaching into the folder again. I have phone records. I have text messages. I have recordings of conversations you had with Carlos Mendoza. That was when Pam Bondi snapped. You don't understand, she shouted, slamming her hand on the table. Yes, I shut down the investigation. Yes, I took the money. You think you're so righteous? You have no idea the pressures I was under, the threats that were made? The hearing room gasped collectively. Those men owned half of Florida, Bondi continued, her voice rising. They had judges, politicians, police chiefs in their pockets. If I had pursued that case, people would have died. I would have died. So you chose to protect yourself instead of protecting victims of human trafficking? Crockett asked quietly. I chose to survive, Bondi screamed back. And yes, I took their money because that's how you play the game. You betrayed your oath of office, Crockett said. You betrayed the people of Florida. You betrayed Maria Santos and countless other victims. Don't you dare lecture me, Bondi screamed. This is Washington. This is politics. Everyone has dirt on everyone else. Chairman Durbin was banging his gavel frantically, but Bondi wasn't listening. You want to destroy me? She shouted at Crockett. Fine, but I'm not going down alone. I know about deals that were made, money that changed hands, cases that were buried. This goes all the way to the top. Miss Bondi, her lawyer shouted, finally grabbing her. Stop talking! But the damage was done. Every word had been captured by cameras and heard by millions watching at home. Crockett stood calmly as chaos erupted around her. She waited for the shouting to die down before speaking. Mr. Chairman, I request permission to enter all these documents into the official record. As pandemonium continued, Pam Bondi ripped off her microphone and stormed toward the exit. At the door, she turned back one final time. This isn't over, she said, her voice low and threatening. You've made an enemy today. So do the victims of human trafficking, Miss Bondi, Crockett replied quietly. So does Maria Santos. Bondi's face contorted with rage, and she stormed out, slamming the door with such force that the sound echoed through the hearing room like a gunshot. Within hours, the U.S. attorney announced an investigation. The FBI was assembling a task force. Legal experts agreed that Bondi's own words constituted clear confessions of criminal conduct. That evening, Maria Santos gave her first public interview. For 10 years, I've lived in fear, she said. But today, Congresswoman Crockett gave me justice. At least the truth is out. The political implications were staggering. Several senators Bondi had implicated were issuing denials. Republican strategists were in panic mode. Crockett was being hailed as a hero for her methodical destruction of Bondi's credibility. This wasn't about politics, she said later. This was about justice. Maria Santos and countless other victims deserve accountability. Criminal charges began being filed against Carlos Mendoza and others in the network. The Department of Justice announced a special task force to investigate corruption in state attorneys' general offices nationwide. A week later, Bondi released her final public statement. I take responsibility for my actions and the harm they caused. I betrayed the public trust. To Maria Santos and other victims, I'm deeply sorry. The investigation Crockett triggered expanded into one of the largest corruption investigations in American history. FBI raids were conducted across Florida. Over 100 cases from Bondi's tenure were being reviewed. In her final interview, Crockett reflected, I didn't go into that hearing planning to destroy anyone. I went there to seek the truth. My only regret is that it took this long. How many victims suffered in those 10 years? The story serves as a powerful reminder that no one is above the law. One determined person with facts and evidence can take down even the most powerful figures. The truth, no matter how deeply buried, has a way of surfacing when brave people refuse to look away.